My name is Stephen Engelbrecht. I'm a senior project manager for Mace. I've been with Mace for 10 years now, 5 years in the UK and 5 years in South Africa. It's a combination of in-house training and external training provided by the company. CITB, SMSTS, BMOS, which is Behavioural Management of Safety, and various other safety courses. A construction site is quite a unique environment. Things happen very quickly. You're dealing with a lot of personalities. There's a lot of people that's under stress, under pressure to deliver on time. So on a day-to-day basis, it's all about communicating with people around us on site. The more we understand about what they do and the more they understand our expectations, the better the relationships. So a construction manager will primarily focus on on-site activities and dealing with trade contractors directly, supervising their works, monitoring quality and ensuring that the planned program is achieved. Now, a project manager is a much more of a consultancy type role where the project manager will deal predominantly with the clients, stakeholders, other professionals and designers. The two is also linked together in a way, where the project manager needs to ensure that all the deliverables by the professional team are in place to hand over to the construction manager. The construction manager can't build anything with the right set of accurate information. So the difference between the contractor and the construction manager. Now, when I say construction manager, I'm referring to a management entity or a consultant, not an individual person as such. Okay. So the difference between the contractor and the construction manager is that the construction manager is appointed by the client as a consultant to manage on-site activities. What then happens is there will be a range of trade contractors that's also appointed directly by the client, hence the construction manager filling the role between the two. On the contracting side, a contractor would be appointed directly by a client with no construction manager in the middle. The contractor will then employ the subcontractors underneath him, so there's no contractual link between the subcontractors and the client. Whereas in construction management, there is. There's two major aspects which gives a lot of advantages on either side. Firstly, I think control. It allows a lot more control on-site activities, safety, and the management processes that a client may expect, which would be the reason for the client to go to a construction manager as an entity to manage that process for them. The other advantages is primarily financial. So where the construction manager is appointed underneath a client, we are not looking at a contractor's P's and G's, management structures. So the construction manager will manage all the trade contractors underneath him, where a contractor would price to do that. So it's a common misperception that a construction manager will add an additional layer of management and fees, where in fact, where a construction manager is employed underneath a client, you're automatically replacing the contractor's management level to manage all the subcontractors, which then brings savings in for the client. So we're looking at up to 15% of the construction value as a saving to the client in that instance. The fee that the client would pay the construction manager would be considerably less than what a main contractor would add on top of his fees for management, P's and G's, etc. From personal experience, I find that practical experience inside has taught me a massive amount. If you would turn the situation on, the other way around, I would say that it's much easier for a construction manager with the practical experience, the knowledge, relationships on site, the other skill sets that's gained, which is people management, etc. It's leaps and bounds different, and it puts them way ahead to become a project manager than if you had to change it the other way around and try to teach a qualified project manager how site works. So personally, my view is that being a CM, gaining the experience, understanding the process, is a great career path to becoming a project manager. I think it's a natural progression for some people. You get a lot of people who's happy to remain as a construction management for the rest of their career. Some guys are what I call bricks and sticks orientated, and other guys are client focused and stakeholder orientated. So a lot of, especially nowadays, I think a lot of young, ambitious people, they look to move quite through the ranks quite quickly. If you're in the construction environment, predominantly as a contractor or a construction manager, you would report to a project manager on behalf of the client. So it's definitely a natural progression, and there's a lot of young, motivated guys that they'll take that path. They always want to climb the ladder to the next step. So. There's a million reasons, to be honest with you. To articulate some of the most important ones, it's our responsibility to our people, our clients, our communities. Being corporate citizens in this environment, working on some of the largest and most influential projects in the world, it comes with that responsibility. Secondly, it improves overall performance on site. People don't realise they might see health and safety as an expense, not as an investment. Now, we've proven through some of our projects and data gathered and statistics that good investment in health and safety upfront in the project improves overall performance, financially, program-wise, quality-wise. It makes people plan what they need to do, and that attitude then cascades into everything else that we do. So if we start there and we get that right, the effects just snowballs for the better. So firstly, we're a very process-driven company, which means that before or prior the commencement of a project or a commission, we develop what's called a project execution plan. Now, within that execution plan, it clearly denotes what the communication channels are. It is very important, especially when it comes to on-site activities. We found sometimes the client might visit site, their representatives might visit site. If there's no clear line of communication and giving instructions, things can spiral out of control quite quickly, especially with regards to instructions, costs associated, etc. So communication is one of the most critical elements of delivering effectively and efficiently. We'll have a client stakeholder come to site ad hoc, and then see something that they may not like or may not agree with. Whether a design has been signed off or not, they do try to get things done the way that they want it done. Now, this is where we need to protect the client from themselves. We are essentially looking after their budget and their money. We cannot allow people giving instructions on site, just out of the blue, who would account for the costs associated, who would take responsibility for the decision. At the end of the day, what would happen is the person that carries out that instruction without the proper authorization will essentially not get paid for it. And that's not what we want on site. Everyone needs to get paid for what they do. Like everything else that we do, it starts with safety. So the first tasks for a construction manager of the day would be to go around site, visually inspect the works that's taking place, ensure that all the safe systems of work are in place, ensure that all the relevant permits, method statements and risk assessments have been reviewed, signed off before works commence. From there, there's quite a few responsibilities that a construction manager needs to deal with on site, and it's never set in a structured way. That's just the nature of construction and site works. Communication is absolutely vital. They need to communicate with the workforce, they need to communicate with the client stakeholders, the designers, they need to chair meetings, whether it's safety meetings, progress meetings, or design coordination for that matter. There's also then a monitoring element and planning ahead. So we need to ensure that quality is monitored on a progressive basis, rather than waiting until the last minute and then go back to fix quality issues. So there's very much a large quality control and management aspect to what the construction manager does. The construction manager also needs to review the activities that's happened on site. Are they happening to program? Do we need to replan? Do we need to look at accelerating areas? Are we going to make our short, medium and long-term deliverables for the project? And based on that review and the information that's gathered in, make the appropriate plans to ensure that we stay on track at the right quality and within budget. A key element in keeping them happy is talking to them, making them understand what you're doing. We've had lots of scenarios or instances where lack of communication with the people around us has caused unhappiness, which then affects the project adversely as well. So by communicating with them, understanding their requirements and their businesses, and by collaborating and working with them, it's all about give and take. It's not we're building the tallest building in Europe and everyone else just needs to stand back and watch type of thing. It's a very sensitive area, but we found that the more we communicate with people, the more we explain to them what we're doing, the more we listen to what their needs are, the better the process flows. So for the shard specifically, by communicating with all the neighbours beforehand and us understanding what their business requirements are, we put processes in place where noisy works, for instance, are kept to a minimum and only out of hours. We also put communication channels in place should any of the neighbours need to contact us or inform us should there be an issue. So we firstly prepare by putting processes and plans in place. People then always follow the plan, which may cause an issue, in which case we facilitate communication and then react to it. I don't want to make this sound like a company sales speech. However, I think the industry could benefit from Mace's international approach, where we look at safety as the first point, changing culture, challenging the status quo, always trying to find a better way, not just for ourselves but for our clients and everyone else that works with us. So I think it's a continual review of how we do things, and the more we do that and the more we keep that continual review of finding a better way going, the more the industry will go, the better we'll do things, the quicker we'll build buildings, the more efficient they'll be, and the more money we'll save our clients. You know, like I've just said, some of our core values are safety, first, second nature, pursuit of a better way, integrity, you got me, opportunity. So combining all those together, we've always found, it doesn't matter what type of situation we may find ourselves in, whenever we refer back to those core values, there's always a positive impact and result.